So today I thought that it's Tuesday, so I'm staying on some form of a schedule, kind of, because I wanted to do Tuesdays or Wednesdays, even though last time was only a few days ago. But today I thought I would talk about something that is important and something that I see a lot on my Twitter timeline. I actually don't see it that much on Tumblr, so I don't know if that's because there's like a different kind of person on that, whatever. But something I see a lot on my Twitter timeline, which has to do with the role of masculinity in how men perceive the role of a woman in relationships. Basically, one of the things that inspired me to talk about this is that I see a lot of misogyny on my Twitter timeline. Like just yesterday, there was this thread written by someone who was basically saying, women, black women specifically, aren't taught how to be a wife because they're so used to being independent, other women, if something needs to get done, they'll ask their man to do it, but a black woman, if something needs to get done, she'll do it herself, which is apparently against what it is to be a wife to this writer or whatever. It essentially kind of boiled down to this idea that a woman's role in a relationship is to be submissive to her man, to submit to her man and to let her man take care of her, and basically rely on her man for everything. And let me tell you a thing, because this really bothers me, and I know that, back in the old days, that was the thing for people where it was the man did everything in the house, the woman submitted to the man, the woman did everything the man told her to do. But, it's 2016. I need y'all to wake the fuck up and smell the coffee. One of the things that, when I saw that thread on Twitter that bothered me, I'm like, men make it seem like they cannot be men unless women are below them. And that's literally, when I read things like that, that's what I read is I don't want my woman to be on the same level as me. I want my woman to be below me. You guys want to be the king of the castle, but you don't really accept this idea of a queen. And that bothers me. And the reason it bothers me is because, you guys you make it seem like a woman who refuses to submit to a man thinks she's too good for a man, or something of that nature. But really, honestly, there's nothing wrong with being with an independent woman. You want women to aspire to be with someone who's independent and stable and able to hold their own, but you don't want a woman who is the same thing. And because of that, you're already looking for a partner that's not equal to you. Now, some women don't have problem being more submissive and things of that nature, and that's fine. If that's how you are, good. Do you, boo-boo. I have no problems with it. But I do have a problem with this idea that a lot of males seem to perpetuate, that the only way that a man can be a man is for a woman to be essentially weaker than him. And on top of that, masculinity so fragile that you can't be masculine without forcing a woman into a stereotypical submissive role. That's not okay. It's not okay. And you talk about it so casually, it's just everyday life. It's normal to be my woman isn't supposed to be able to pay her own bills. She's supposed to come to me when the bills need to get paid. No, nigga. Why don't you want a woman that can pay her own bills? That makes no sense. Why do you want a woman that has to rely on you for everything, that has to depend on you for everything? And the reason, like I said, if that's how you are, that's fine. And if it works in your relationship, that's fine. But it shouldn't be a demand. You shouldn't demand that your woman submits to you. If you find a woman that's like that and you all click and that works, then that's fine. But if you meet an independent woman, your first thought shouldn't be, oh, I can't be with you because you're not willing to submit. It's just this idea that you guys foster, that the only way you can feel appreciated by your woman is for her to rely on you and for her to literally have a need for you to exist in her life. And that's not, first of all, it's not fair for women such as myself who have grown up under this idea of I will appreciate a man who is in my life. And I will be supportive, and I will, of course, voice my appreciation. I will just silently appreciate him. I'll let people and him know that I appreciate him for everything he does. But at the same time, really, my mom has raised me in a way where it's don't ever catch yourself in a situation where if you were with a man and for whatever reason he left you, you would have nothing. And I think that's a very, very solid thing. You want a woman to need you, but that you don't want to have to need a woman. You talk constantly about this fact that women need a man, they need us, but y'all never talk about the fact that you need a woman. And that's not like, so right there's a bias. That's a gender bias. Y'all don't ever talk about needing a woman, but y'all are constantly pushing this idea that women need a man. And if a woman says, no, I don't need a man, then y'all are like, oh, yes, you do. You tripping. You just ain't met the right one yet. No, that doesn't mean she, like, even if she met the right man, that doesn't mean she needs that man. That's a man she wants. That's a man she enjoys being with. But that does not mean that she needs him. And the sooner y'all get off y'all goddamn high horse and realize that it's not always about, oh, you know, I'm a man, I gotta provide, I gotta do this, but I can only do that because my masculinity is so fragile. If my woman is not on the same, like, if we're not right here, you don't want your woman to be able to pay the bills. You want to have to pay the bills. That doesn't make sense. Why do you do that? It's not necessary. There are other ways to feel wanted and appreciated by your woman that don't require lessening the dependence of the woman you're with. I literally, I'm gonna have to come back to this because this is something I could go on and on about, but I'm trying to keep my videos a little short. It's not working, obviously, but like, key takeaway here is just because you're a man, that doesn't mean that the woman has to be below you. Just because you're, like, you know, your masculinity does not depend on the submissiveness of the woman you're with. And if it does, you need to reevaluate what you consider masculinity. Because that is, when you talk about this idea of submissiveness, you're talking about this idea that you need to be in control of your woman. And why is that? Why do you think that's what masculinity is? And beyond that, why do you think that this urge to control your woman, to have dominance over your woman, is healthy masculinity? Why do you think it's healthy for you to desire to have that kind of control and dominance over your significant other, and anything other than that you reject as not acceptable or wrong? Think about it. Just think about it, because I will have some conversations about healthy and unhealthy masculinity up on here, boy. We will do the hell out of that.